Hello and welcome back to the Spin the Rock podcast. I'm your host, Angel. With me today are my co-hosts.
Eugene.
And Vaughn.
All right. Not a lot of news, but our main topic is super exciting. So let's get into the news segment. Um, Something that we are already talking about that I had to stop so we could lead into it now. The Nets are retiring Vince Carter's jersey. I don't know, have they already done it or they're going to do it?
Tonight, I think they're going to do it.
Tonight. So the 25th for our listeners is when they're gonna do it. So 2 days ago. That's crazy. How do y'all feel about this news?
I mean, I think it's deserved. He spent a lot. I don't know about the majority, but he spent a lot of, his playing time with that one team while he was in the league, and he did a lot. Made the playoffs a couple times, if I remember correctly. And I feel like he was part of establishing that culture that I guess they somewhat still have, kind of the more swaggier culture or whatever. Um, but yeah, I think he fully deserved for his jersey to be retired.
Did they? They made finals when Vince was on the team, right? Or
Oh, did they?
it's
I don't
such a
know.
He was there
cloudy
from
era.
04 to 09.
See,
So he was
I
there
can't
for
even
5
remember.
seasons.
It's just when I think Vince Carter, I instantly think Raptor. So it makes sense for him, the Raptors, because like Vince, like he was there on the Nets for like 5-ish years, which I feel like is not a lot of time to like make an impact on a team historically. But then again, it might just because the Nets don't have a lot of players like Vince, because Vince
Mhm.
was basically a human highlight reel. Um, so I guess in that regard, it makes sense. But like 5 years, bro. I guess it's kind of just more so to like the career of Vince Carter, and that you got to appreciate the time that he spent there. It does seem a little not hollow in a sense, but not as significant as a Toronto Raptors jersey retirement.
Bro, I'm gonna be so honest. This is so weird to me, bro. And like me and Eugene started arguing about it, and that's why we got into this topic so quickly. This is so weird to me. Like, I understand that the Nets basically have nobody, but like Vince Carter on the Nets, like he
Bro,
was
that's
good.
where he became like highlight Vince, bro.
That is the bro. Come on.
Like y'all just hating, bro. Y'all hating, bro.
I don't know. 5 seasons, 23 points a game throughout those 5 seasons. Like,
That's best player type beat, bro.
I guess that's fair. I
Like
will say, one of his seasons, he played all 82 games, which is pretty insane. 06, 07, 82 games, 25 points.
yeah, he was hooping, bro. That
I
season
just,
he had to have hooping, bro. But like I don't know. When I think Vince, I think Nets and Raptors. I don't just think Raptors. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But I see where you guys are coming from. But again, like the Nets need somebody up in the Raptors. It's either him and or Jason Kidd. After that,
Yeah.
you know,
That's very fair, bro. I remember when I used to play 2K, the all-time Nets teams were those like worse than the regular NBA teams, bro. Those that like they really have nobody on that team. So yeah, I guess it's fair. It's just shocking to me that is he the first one? Who else has their jersey retired for the Nets?
if it were to be anybody, it'd be somebody like older.
Old as
Maybe
hell.
like Julius Irving,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, like hopefully the Nets just get some more shine with their players coming in the future. But it's still looking at it now. It's gonna be a while till we at least get into their Vince Carter talent in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, moving on. A controversial topic, actually. The All-Star starters are out. Um, does someone want to take the East, and then we could talk about those starters, and then we could do West and talk about them?
Yeah, I got pulled up. I can do East. At the
Okay.
guard spot, we got Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, and then forwards is Giannis, Jason Tatum, and then Karl Anthony Towns.
And for the West, we got LeBron, Jokic, Steph, SGA, and KD. Same old Western lineup.
So okay, let's before we get into the West, let's talk about the East. How do y'all feel about the East starters? Because there was some controversy there, which I think is unfound. But what do y'all think of the Eastern Conference starters?
The West is winning once again.
That's very fair.
Who is Jalen Brunson guarding, bro? He can't guard Steph. I'm sorry. I do thoroughly believe that he should be an all-star starter, but he's not guarding Steph Curry, bro. Let's be honest. And who's
That's
guarding
very
Jokic?
fair.
Tatum can't guard Jokic.
Bro, Cat would be getting cooked.
Cat would be getting cooked, bro.
But I digress.
I think it makes sense for all the East starters. I think it's harder to make a case against them than it would be, for them. Like Giannis makes sense as a lock. Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson are the guards on the top teams in the East. Tatum, a lock. Karl Anthony Towns has been a favorite among the Knicks. Also, like, not to diminish Cat's position as an all-star starter, but there's not a lot of centers in the East that are like competing for that top spot.
No, for real, there's no chance. So how do y'all feel? Because both conferences had certain fans upset. I think the West, Wemby fans were mad that he wasn't the starter. And then for the East, which I think is actually insane that they would even be mad about this, a lot of people thought LaMelo got snubbed. How do you feel about those two quote-unquote snubs?
I don't think LaMelo, no. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I love LaMelo, but like, he's on the Hornets, bro. And who's watching the Hornets? I know it's, fan picks or whatever, but again, if you're mad, go vote. Like, it's all entirely up to the fans and the media votes or whatever. So Wemby is like whatever. It would be cool to see, just a younger player as an all-star starter. Both LaMelo and Wemby, but I don't think it's necessarily a snub.
For Wemby, it's like borderline impossible for him to be a starter this time in his career.
Right.
You have to beat Jokic, LeBron until he retires, Kevin Durant, and like depending on the kind of year he's having, AD if Lakers fans like him that year.
Right.
Like, bro, it's gonna you're lucky that people think you're a snub. Like, like it's gonna be so hard for that man to get a starter until like at least LeBron and KD are gone.
Yeah. Plus, like, look at both these guys' teams records. Like, I know All-Star is more of an individual award, but let's not like hide the fact people do look at team records when thinking about this, and they're just on the worst teams. Like, Hornets still remain hard to watch. Like, I think snub is a strong case if you're top 6 in your conference. But come on, Hornets and Spurs, where they're at, we can't really be doing. We can't exchange them for Jokic, like you already said, and Brunson. Like, New York is such a big market. Obviously, you are not going to beat out New York.
I think the reason why people think LaMelo is a snub is because he did win the fan rankings. But like the media ranked him 7, bro. Like the media did like, I think that's the biggest thing I've seen people saying this is snub because he was ranked 1 among fan votes. But like, bro, let's be honest. Like Vaughn said, like he's way down there, and even if he wasn't, like New York has such a strong fan base, and then Donovan Mitchell just hooping out of his mind. Like, like, yeah, Cleveland's a small market, but like a lot of people do believe he's the best guard in the East right now. So like, I feel like it's hard to really call these snubs. I just think fans of these players like are just trying to make it bigger than what it actually is. All right, and then who? So, are you guys excited for the All-Star game at all? That's coming up.
Bro, I think this might be the first year I skip entirely. Uh, just certain things like I don't want to see the skills challenge, and I'm not really excited about the dunk contest. The pool of players, like, yeah, they're lesser known and probably could get more shine, but it's just a little less exciting if you don't have a big name attached to this dunk contest, you know?
Mhm.
And then the All-Star game, all I'm hearing from like player interviews about it is just like confusion or just like not enthused. Paul George, this man, we all know how bad he's been playing, but he's been talking like, "Oh, we play this All-Star." What do you mean we, Paul George? You will not be there. It's just the enthusiasm isn't there, and I think this is like the lowest interest I've had in it for a long time.
I think that goes to show for the NBA in general, because as we all know, and maybe some of our audience as well, like the NBA ratings have been pretty low and at the lowest thus far. So I mean, I'm a I'm gonna keep in tune. I'm gonna watch it as much as I can, just because it's All-Star break. I haven't been watching as much of the regular season as I want to, so I'm gonna try and have All-Star break kind of be my, I guess, entryway back into the second half of the season. Just to see what teams are doing and try and keep up with the league as much as possible. But yeah, they need to do something with All-Star break, bro.
No, it's for real. Yeah, it's dying off really, really fast. I think fans are getting more and more disinterested every year.
Which is
Oh,
crazy too to even say, because I feel like, in my personal opinion, the NBA has had the best overall All-Star break. Like, sports fans look forward to it the most rather than
yeah.
football or baseball or hockey or soccer, So it's just interesting to me that you say that.
No, for real. And it's kind of insane that it's literally the player's fault.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the events are structured stupidly or the NBA isn't like marketing it well. It's literally because the players don't give a shit about the All-Star break anymore. And it's kind of sad, but like, yeah, bro, nobody wants to be in the dunk contest. 3-point shooting, like, it was already a lesser contest to begin with, but like barely anybody does that anymore. And then you watch the All-Star game, the biggest event, and it's literally like players just chucking half court shots and doing dunks that are like, oh. So it's just sad, low key.
I wonder if it'll get so bad the NBA considers skipping a year. 'Cause I don't know how much money they have to put into it or how much they make out of it. Uh, and I know they have like contracts to uphold like Nike and All-Star jersey and stuff, but I wonder if it'll ever get to a point where it's just not worth it. And like All-Star is basically just a complete break for the players, and you get your All-Stars named, but they don't really do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at least just based on how it's declining right now, I wonder when that point, if or when we'll ever reach that.
Yeah.
I don't think so, only because it's such a big moneymaker. Like, people still look forward to it. People still attend it. Now, I don't know if this one is going to sell out or if all of them have like sold out or whatever, but I think it's too big of a moneymaker. And also, no matter where it is, celebrities are still going to pop out to,
Yeah, that's true.
the dunk contest, 3-point contest, just see their friends or, people compete. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they'll skip a year per se, but I think there will be a major change somehow. Just who knows when.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into our main topic, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're watching the video format. And if you're listening on audio, make sure you give us that good old 5 stars, leave a review. Let's make 2025 the year of Spin the Rock. And we have an inside man at the All-Star game this year, bro. Like, like we're doing big things this year, so make sure you tune in for that. But also let us down in the comments for our main topic this week. Regular season teams, your favorite regular season teams who had unfortunately little to no playoff success. Let us down below. Chime in on who you think that is, but who wants to kick us off today?
I can go. We got here pictured D Rose, a legendary run in on the Timberwolves team. Mine's kind of a hybrid between the Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose Timberwolves, only because there was a brief overlap there. But Timberwolves were one of those teams I always skipped. Like Karl-Anthony Towns was the only pull there. But then obviously Jimmy Butler literally willed them into the playoffs at one point. And they were a pretty fun team. They had like Jamal Crawford, Jeff Teague, and obviously Cat and Andrew Wiggins, if you were a fan of them then. So they had a good mix of like vets and young talent. And they were kind of on the up and coming. And obviously the Jimmy Butler thing didn't pan out. But in its place, Derrick Rose arrived and he kind of gave them new life. The only sad thing is they got into playoffs, but never once won a playoff series together. They wouldn't win one until Anthony Edwards came along. But even then, to me, this team was really fun because I think this was the era. Yeah. They had the throwback Timberwolves jerseys. They had the Prince jerseys. Like everything about them was just so much more interesting than previous years.
I blame the front office. I don't blame Alex Rodriguez. I blame the front office. The Timberwolves, I think they got like a Chicago Cubs curse, bro. Like I don't know what it's gonna take for them, other than a better front office, for them to actually have playoff success. Because I guess for almost our entire lives, we've either rarely seen them in the playoffs or have not seen them in the playoffs. So hopefully it's trending upwards with Ant. And unfortunately, they went away from Cat for whatever reason. But hopefully it's trending forward with Ant. They could draft well a little bit. I don't know what the draft picks look like. But, yeah, the Timberwolves, they're just sorry, bro.
Yeah, bro. I remember thinking like, oh, this is when D Rose comes back, bro. And I was honestly so sad, bro, when like it just wouldn't work out for them, because like they were such a fun team, and like everyone just wanted to see like Cat succeed, D Rose succeed. You know who ruined it all? Patrick Beverly. That man is the reason why this team never succeeded, bro. I blame him.
It was
No,
that
but like
playing game.
it was when he threw the jersey into the stands. But no, it was just like sad to see like them just never be able to take off in the West, especially for how young they were. Like most of that team was during this time, because D Rose was probably like one of the few vets. Cat was young. Like it was crazy.
Okay, so my team is also this beautiful team behind me. Particularly the 2014-2015 Trailblazers. And this team relatively stayed the same, with a couple, additions here and there, trades. But relatively, it was Dame, LaMarcus Aldridge, Nicholas Batum. I think Wesley Matthews was there for a bit. And they added Thomas Robinson as well as their power forward for a while too. I think they drafted him actually. And I used to spam play this team in 2K because a young Dame, he had the little 3 next to his name. So I was like, okay, he can shoot. You had LaMarcus and Thomas Robinson on the block. You had a good Wesley Matthews, also spreading the floor, shooting threes, and a pretty decent Nicholas Batum as well because he could play defense. So the team was solid, but 2014, 2015, it was like that was their, I guess, first year together, I think. And they could just, going forward, they could just never, like, even get to the second round of the playoffs. It's really unfortunate. One year they lost, I think it was to Harden one year. They lost to the Clippers one year. They lost to the Warriors one year. They lost to the Pelicans one year, like all in the first round. And it's really unfortunate to see Damian Lillard's career, as he gets older, just not have any playoff success, whether that was a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, whatever that may be. But yeah, the Trailblazers, and it's not looking too bright either right now. So, yeah.
It's when I think Trailblazers, I always picture the duo of Dame and CJ McCollum. But the LaMarcus Aldridge era was also like they should have done more. Like you see this team, they just seemed built to win, and it just never happened. Maybe LaMarcus Aldridge is cursed. 'Cause the brief time with Brandon Roy, and then he gets Dame, and it just doesn't work out. And obviously he left the Spurs, and then it's kind of like that's the end. But yeah, that's a good pick.
Bro, the amount of highlights that came out of that era too, bro. Dame has got to be the player with the most playoff highlights, iconic moments with nothing to show for it, bro. This man has some of the most iconic playoff moments of all time. And then you go, I wonder how far he went that year. Oh, he lost that round. Or, oh, he lost the next round after that.
Oh, he got swept.
Yeah, like it's insane to think about like how many highlights came out of the Blazers, like the Dangers, and like my team kind of similar, but it was more like they just couldn't get past one specific roadblock. And I got the DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry Raptors, bro. Like
the LeBronto Raptors.
From 2014 to 2018, they made it to the playoffs every single year, but they never got to the past the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they made the Eastern Conference Finals once actually, but every time they got to that semifinals or the Cavs were in that first round, they just were out of there.
I would go ahead.
And I just it could have been such a good moment for them, but bro, I mean, they even lost to the they lost to the 2016. They lost to the Brooklyn Nets, but bro,
I'd have been sick being a Toronto fan. Like, no matter how well you do in the regular season, no matter how far you go in the playoffs, LeBron is going to be there to stop you. And it doesn't matter how much they change the roster. It doesn't matter how many defenders they got to try and counter LeBron. He would just be there, and it would be over. Even when I remember specifically when Dwayne Casey won Coach of the Year, they were first in the East. They were breezing by the first round. LeBron barely scrapes out of the Pacers series in a 7-game series. And for some reason, he just wipes the floor with that one seed from Toronto Raptors. It was just what do you even do at that point? And then their answer was trade DeMar. And
it worked, bro.
Yeah, it worked beautifully.
And it just made me feel for DeMar, man. Seeing that after you leave, that success you wanted for so long, and it happened without you. Yeah, that's crushing.
I mean, Vaughn literally said everything. It's just unfortunate to see that, I guess as a like I'm not a Toronto fan, obviously, but if I were to be a Toronto fan or like a similar situation happened to my team, just be like, when are we gonna win? When are we gonna win? Like we're right there. We're right there. And then you just never eclipse that. It's just like bro, it sucks, bro. It sucks. I can imagine. But no, yeah, that's a great pick. That is a great pick.
The LeBronto Raptors.
We've mentioned DeMar. I got to bring up another guy that I really wanted, just like deserved to go far. I wanted to see those moments further in the playoffs, but that just never happened. Tracy McGrady, specifically with the Rockets with Yao Ming. We all know like injuries were a huge problem, but I wanted that duo to work. I wanted them to go far. It just injuries caught up because Tracy McGrady, he's always that one guy every other player respects. One of the hardest players to guard. Uh, Obviously, his iconic moments, be it clutching up a game in 13 seconds, scoring in double figures, like insane things. And it just, he could never, for his whole career, get out of the first round of playoffs. I needed to see him at least conference finals because I know we would have had bigger moments, but it wasn't meant to be.
I mean, it is crazy to think about, such a big player, still talked about. A lot of people modeled their game after him, and it's crazy to think like that he doesn't have a ring.
Yeah.
Like we only think about the highlights, the exciting plays, the scoring output, but it's like, other than that, like, what does he have to show for it? It's like, I guess, all-star appearances, but no ring. So it's like, how, like, you got to be a real inspirational player for, I guess, that to have happened to you. You know what I mean? And there are not very few, but there are a few players, that younger players model their game after and have no ring. So
I think the saddest part is the fact that he's so good. Like, if he was like, had a lot of flaws or like, did like was really good here but not so great there. No, bro. This man was a generational scorer and like one of the best two-way players we've probably have ever seen. And yet, like, his playoff success is not there. And it's this sucks so much, bro. Because like he has done some outstanding scoring performances, and it's just like that it's like amounted to like not much. And like even times when he tried to ring chase, bro, like he still didn't get that ring, bro. And it's just like it sucks so much.
I wonder, like, I think following his trajectory, his career, like, of the teams he was on, the greatest chance going far is probably the Rockets if they ever manage to stay healthy.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he stayed East, because, the West was always tough. You would always have to go through Kobe. If he stayed in the East, I wonder if he would have had more success. At least win a playoff series. At least one.
Raptors fans would say if he stayed on the Raptors. But like you can't know for sure.
Right.
Because when you don't even make it past, yeah.
So, T-Mac a little bit older, but I'm going even further back. Not a particular season, but also a player. On the Suns, back to the 80s, we're going Charles Barkley.
That's fair.
Again, not so many players model their game after him, but he's had a lot of success in the NBA. And the fact that even though he would make the playoffs, again, is kind of like a Dame situation, like he couldn't get past the first round. If he got past the second round or the first round, he made it to the second round, couldn't get past the second round. I think there was only one season that he actually made the finals, but we all know how that went. He lost. And then after that, it was just kind of a steady slope from there. But yeah, no, but the Suns as an organization too, like it goes as far back as Charles Barkley, and we are still talking about them. A super team Suns that cannot win in the regular season. So it's like, what's wrong with the Suns? Why has this been going on for 30, 40 years, however long that's been,
Yeah, like Charles Barkley is basically NBA royalty, and he's famously doesn't have a ring, but he might as well have one. Like, it feels like an honorary ring somewhere because of how respected he is, But yeah, like the Suns, he's been on a lot of solid teams, be it the Sixers or even the Rockets, like quote unquote super team. But like the Suns was probably his best shot, and it is a shame he never got there. But we all kind of know why. Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
one of many slaughtered to go ringless,
in the Jordan era.
And then even dating to like today, you got they're again a super team Suns that are just failing. But going back to the finals that they made, I think we think about it as a lot more competitive than it actually was. But when you really do think about it, did they ever really have a chance? They had no one to stop Giannis. It's just like no one who was fast enough, no one who was big enough or strong enough to like guard that. Of course, Giannis was going to win. That's just hindsight's 2020. But like, yeah, the Suns, whatever magic you need to win to get that trophy, they don't have it.
Like we're talking about the Suns, and it's like they've had good teams. They've always had good teams on paper, anyway. But then when it comes to the playoffs, it's like I don't know if it's coaching, upper management. Once again, it could be a plethora of things, chemistry, but I don't know. And it's like,
Right.
I feel like the Magic right now, currently, are on a upwards trend, which is kind of, in my opinion, a crazy thing to say. Because it's like we're talking about the Magic here, and they've been bottom barrel forever as well. Not forever, but for a long time.
Right.
So it's like, why do the Suns have better players but are playing worse than a team, than many teams actually, with younger players?
I
It's
think
it's crazy.
the Magic are just doing it right. They've stayed course with a young guy. They trusted development. Whereas the Suns, they always seem to panic and try to offload young assets for something that hopefully wins now. And
Right.
it really just every time it just never works out. Like even when they had Steve Nash, like when he first came in, like yeah, they had regular season wins, but always failed in the playoffs. Like you got a 2-time MVP there and you couldn't capitalize.
Right.
No, like the Sun. Like if I'm a Suns fan, like how many generational talents do you need, bro? You've had Charles Barkley, Steve Nash, KD now, Devin Booker, Chris Paul. Like you've had some generational like talent, all-time Hall of Famers on your team, and playoff success is just not what you're known for. You're known more for your poverty days than you are your playoff success, which is insane.
Yeah, bro. And just before we move on, just to tell our audience as well that Charles Barkley is actually not a bum. He got All-Star 11 straight years in a row. And on top of that, he has an MVP in prime Jordan years. So Charles Barkley was never a bum. He was never the problem. Everyone else was.
Yeah. All right. To keep up with my trend, I'm doing teams who are so close yet so far. The 2010s Houston Rockets, bro. The 2010s. From 2010 to 2019, they made the playoffs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, bro. 7 times, and 7 of those were in a row. They made the playoffs 8 years in a row, bro. They went to the Western Conference Finals twice and lost both times. They've been to the first, they lost in the first round 3 times. They lost in the semifinals 3 times, bro. They are the definition of so close yet so far, bro. They won in 2018. They had a 65-17 record, bro, and they still didn't go to the finals. Granted, there was injuries, but like, bro,
that was the year they set the franchise record for most threes made, right?
League record, bro.
So.
Oh, league record.
It was the league record, yeah.
Like that's crazy, bro. That's insane.
They just couldn't do it. And it's not like they were losing to the Warriors every time. Because, like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, they just kept losing to the Warriors, bro. Sometimes they lost to, like, the Blazers one year, bro. Like, and don't get me wrong.
Dame highlight, bro. Sent them packing.
And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not just mean that in a disrespectful way. But, like, everyone always is like, oh, the Warriors, they just couldn't get past them. Like, bro, no. They were losing to the Thunder, the Spurs, the Blade. Like, they were losing to everybody, bro. The 2020, they lost to the Lakers. Like, bro, they were. If you were in the Western Conference, you beat the Rockets in the playoffs.
You had a high likelihood, a high percent chance that you were beating the Rockets.
It was insane. And James Harden, bro, like, I feel like his reputation is tarnished by this, bro. This is around the time where he can't play defense. He's a ball hog. Like, bro, his reputation was getting trashed more and more with every single playoff loss.
But, like, again, I'm sure we've talked about this in, other previous episodes, but you can't play small ball. They were playing smaller ball than the Warriors currently.
Dude, they were
right
playing.
now.
They're playing little league ball, bro. They had some outrageous lineups during that era. PJ Tucker at center, bro. Like, that's
not just that. They purposely traded all of their big men to force PJ Tucker to play center.
It's insane.
No one over 6'8" was there. It's crazy. They had their moments. They had their times. They were very close to, get into the finals, but they've done enough different things with their roster. They could have made it. Like, they almost beat the Kevin Durant Warriors, but, Chris Paul, obviously went out. But they still had a shot. They were in the lead at one point. They just panicked. They knew this is the closest they've ever been, and they panicked and shot probably one of the worst 3-point games ever in the history of playoff basketball. So I can't even blame, like, one thing. It's just, like, there's so many chances you had with so many different teams, be it Dwight Howard, be it Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. It's just never came to fruition.
Yeah, that's probably, like, sorry, you can go first.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it was just really unfortunate on James Harden's behalf. Like, although he had so many, I don't want to say good teams, but, like, able teams, to at least get that far. It's unfortunate that we couldn't see more playoff success in his prime. Like, bro, we're talking about 50-point triple-double James Harden here. Like we're never, not never, but we're not going to see it for a long time. We might see it again in our lifetime, but way, way, way down the line. So the fact that I guess even as a fan, like we kind of got robbed of him at least even competing in the finals kind of sucks.
Yeah, it was just, bro, and like he, like you say, like he had like some good teams. Sometimes he, like, bro, there was times where he had like outstanding teams, bro.
No, right.
Like, and it's just like like sucks like so much that like they just couldn't do it for some reason.
It's worse considering he made it to the finals with the Thunder so early on in his career, and then you see him become a generational scorer on the Rockets, and he just never returned. That's some actual sting to that wound.
No, for real. I mean, yeah, dude. And like, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just funny because like people talk it up to the Warriors, but like, bro, like I said, they lost to like any good team in the Western Conference during that time. They lost to them in the playoffs, bro, and they just couldn't figure out how to like just truck their way through. And when they did, it was like they couldn't do it.
They were a 1 seed like a couple, maybe even a few times. But if I was a Western Conference team, I wouldn't be scared to face them, you know. Just the reputation of them, you know, notoriously James Harden playoff choker. So maybe it was like a respect factor, like no one was scared of them in a certain sense. It's easy to say this now in the future than at the time, but like they were kind of easy to chew up, I would say.
All right. Do you guys want to call it here? Do you want? Oh, you want to do honorable mentions real quick?
Yeah. I don't know what episode, but we've talked about them before. But really, Brooklyn Nets one playoff series they made with D'Lo. I've never had more fun with a very obviously bad team, but they were having fun. The fans were having fun, and we just haven't seen that. I don't think in the league for a while either.
Yeah.
Like a team that is bad, but you want to root for, the same way you did for the Nets. It helps that they were against, I think, the Sixers. And I remember hating the Sixers at that time between Joel Embiid at peak, like troll mode on Twitter and stuff, and then Ben Simmons' ego was off the charts. That was actually so fun to watch.
My honorable mention is particularly this season and this season only. The 2017-2018 New Orleans Pelicans with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins.
That's a good one.
I was rooting for them so hard. But then Anthony Davis gets hurt. I think Boogie was hurt first going into that season. Then Anthony Davis got hurt. Boogie came back, almost carried them. Did he carry them to the playoffs, low-key?
I think he kind of did, bro.
He did. They went to the second round. They lost in the second round. So he carried them to the playoffs. And I was hoping AD, I don't even remember what his injury was. But that, for me, that's one of my biggest like what ifs in NBA history. Like, what if AD and Boogie were both healthy either for most of that season, all season, for the playoffs? Like, just what if they were healthy, bro? What would have happened? Because that really should have maybe not necessarily been a chip, but I think Boogie, one, would have stayed in the league a little bit, slightly more longer. Because also he got that this was a comeback season for him, and he got all-star he got an all-star appearance that year as well. So like I think Boogie would have stayed in the league for a little bit longer. The Pelicans may have kept him maybe another season just to see, how that would have worked out. If they were fully healthy. And they might have not ended up with Zion, but yeah, I don't know, bro. I even still think about it to this day, like, bro, what if, bro?
Bro, they got a game against the Warriors, bro. Like, sure, they still got gentlemen swept. I don't know if I could be remembering this wrong, but I also remember that every other game they thought AD was returning, bro.
Yeah.
Like since it was like the third game in the Blazers series, like AD expected to play game 4, he didn't go. AD expected to play game 1 of Golden State, didn't come back. And it was just like every game, bro, he was expected to return. And like it was game 5, the Pelicans were not beating the Warriors that game. And it was just like, if who knows, maybe if they would have won that game, AD would have returned for game 6. I highly doubt it though, but still. Like, it was just crazy how many times he was reported to be returning, and it just never did.
Right.
That was the team that beat the Trailblazers in the playoffs, right? First round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that because the Trailblazers were so heavily favored to win because there were doubts about like the Pelicans able to even be a good playoff team because they hadn't reached that point since like Chris Paul time, basically. But yeah, they should have stick together. But Boogie wanted to ring chase or whatever. Having double bigs like that, maybe it wouldn't have taken so long for this idea to have returned, or maybe it would have been done better. Because like the biggest example we had that as last year with Cat and Rudy Gobert, and
Bro, they were running triple bigs.
crazy for that. But yeah, maybe the big man would just be a little more respected these days. You don't have to be a Jokic type player to be on that echelon, but who knows? We're in the 3-point era now. So.
We're in the modern NBA now.
So I have 2 honorable mentions. One, because I like low-key didn't have that much success at all. I said that I was gonna say the Kemba Walker Hornets, but they only made it like twice the entire time he
that's
was.
That's just hope. That's your inner your inner fan, bro.
I just forgot how little they actually did make it when he was there. I could have sworn it was like 4 times, and they just kept missing every other year. But no, they only made it twice, so that's why I didn't say them.
No, yeah,
And then
they were sorry, bro.
they were sorry, bro. They were the definition of a 9th seed, bro. And then this one, because it's a little too recent, but this Embiid Sixers, bro. Like, talk about like not meeting expectations. I don't think Embiid has made it past the second round. I think he made it past. No, I don't think he's ever made it past the second round. And when he did have the chance, his right-hand man sold, and he got sent home way too early. And that was probably his best year to even, like, maybe sniff the finals. Like, I don't think he would have made it to the finals. I don't even think if he did, he would have won the finals. But, like, that was his best chance of even, like, getting close. And it just hasn't happened for him. And it's looking like it's never going to happen for him on the Sixers.
I don't even know if it's more of a him problem or a Sixers problem, but you could just put everything, you could bet everything. Now, this is not financial advice, but like you just know Joel Embiid is not making even the conference finals.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A lock. And I don't know why that is. He's had a lot of good players play around him. He's had a good amount of swapping of coaches. I think even the front office has changed. Bro, his GM, do you remember that? His old GM had a side Twitter account that was basically saying how shit Joel Embiid was. And that's basically why he got fired. This was ages ago. But that's crazy that it even happened. It's just so much has happened since Joel's been there, and it just never translated to winning.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Just like Joel Embiid in general and the Sixers. But also connecting with Charles Barkley. Like Charles Barkley was on the Sixers, Julius Erving was on the Sixers, even older. So like
Bro.
the Sixers have also been forever cursed. And
AI, bro.
yeah, yeah, made it to the finals and still couldn't win. So it's like these teams have like so much history and good players behind them, but it's like what needs to change for them to actually succeed in the playoffs, you know? Joel Embiid just needs to leave for him to succeed in the playoffs, but that's another story for another day.
All right, that's probably what we're gonna call it. If you are listening on audio platforms, make sure you give us that good old 5 stars, leave a review. We're on YouTube for that video format, so make sure you like and subscribe there. Let us know who is a regular season team that just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. There's so many to choose from that I'm sure you guys have some that we just forgot to mention. We're on all social media platforms at Spinning Rocks. So make sure you check us out there for clips and episode updates. Last week I said we might not be around on TikTok, and TikTok came back that day. So who knows at this point? But we're still there as of now. So make sure you follow us there. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.